Hi everyone, this is Pius Rubangakene, reporting live from Uganda, and I work with Madiro. So today we want to talk about a tool that we have been using internally for a while now, and it helps us, speed up our form creation workflow. So typically, we have two main implementations that we are working on right now. There's the one for in partnership with MSF, which is the Lime EMR, and that is being to be piloted in Iraq, Mosul, and then we also have another implementation called UVL. We call it basically UVL EMR, and it's for the Ubuntu Village of Life in rural Burundi. So us being a small team, we kind of try and use every opportunity to try to automate some of our workflows and basically speed up the process of getting feedback, right? Because sometimes you can spend too much time working on something, and then as you have gone really deep inside, you find that maybe this is missing, or maybe this has to be rediscussed or maybe rethought or in that field. So and a big part of digitizing an EMR is obviously form entry, and that's why forms are kind of like a big deal as far as EMRs are concerned. Now, in the past, we have demoed, I think actually at the conference, we demoed the V1 of this, which is basically a tool that would convert Excel sheets into JSON forms in a matter of seconds, right? Now, so let me just switch over to the Excel sheet here. So this is our Excel sheet. This is our Excel sheet basically. So the way it's structured is we basically follow the same alignment of our JSON forms. So the way it's structured is we have the page, which is the first column here. We have the section, we have the question numbers, we have the question, we have the rendering types, and all these are kind of matched to the way the JSON is structured, right? And we also, let me just scroll a little bit this side, we even have the concept UIDs. Everything is kind of like in this form. And so how our workflow basically goes is that as far as forms are concerned is the stakeholders, in this case, we're talking about MSF. This is MSF. So we have this form where they're able to enter all the data that they need to be available within a form. So basically, in case, let's say there's a manual, there's a paper form, right? And we basically go to that paper form, and all this is entered into the spreadsheet. And each sheet within the spreadsheet here is basically the name of the form. And within the spreadsheet, if we just scroll a little bit this side, we even have things like skip logic that needs to be applied. And we actually even have translations within this file and the locale defined within this file. So what we've been doing in the past was that we basically get the spreadsheet. Within the spreadsheet, we basically their team basically reviews this, enters all the logic and all the details of the form and how it's supposed to work. And for us, we basically get the spreadsheet, and then what we're doing was we're using a Python script to basically extract the data that was within the spreadsheet into a JSON form. And that kind of that really made our process really faster, because when we started this just over a year ago, it was really taking, the first forms we built really took a while, right? And we had about 7 image forms, and we took months, in between the back and forth, and the different iterations of the form. So we found that it was really taking really long to get feedback and identifying mistakes quicker. So what we started with was the clinical tools, and this is basically a Python script which basically extracted everything within that Excel sheet into JSON form. Now let me just scroll down slightly. Where is it? Let me just scroll down here. So within this repo we have the converter.py, which basically has all the logic for the form generation. And within this we also have one for translations, for updating translations. The converter.py in general basically spits out the JSON form as well as the translations, but then we kind of made improvements to this so that you can even give an option to auto update forms, right? And we also have somewhere in here, we also have one for verifying concepts. Verifying concepts in case, let's say, they're missing concepts. Now, this was the first generation. This was the first gen, and it was working well. But then we needed a way to, kind of like, instead of having to set up the environment locally, dependencies and everything, we kind of started working on a V2 version, which is basically like a FormGen UI, right? Now, this FormGen UI is basically this repo here. So what we basically did, and let me just switch over to this. So what we basically did is we basically just got the logic that we already worked on, and then applied it to come up with this. Now, one of the things that I think, one of the things that we keep preaching about is configuration, right? Now, for our case, these are the labels, these are the headers we've been doing, we've been using for our Excel sheets. Yeah. You may find that, for example, you don't need DHIS2. Yeah, maybe you need like, maybe you want to give a different name for skip logic and things like that. So the first thing we tackled when we were building this was try to make this configurable, right? Now, when we switch over, I'll share all these links in the chat, I think, as I'm in the chat. Now, when we move over to configuration here, you actually have the power to add the custom columns that you want to use in the Excel sheet. Now, for us, the default, of course, is what we're already using. So we have this, and of course, you can edit this to whatever way you want to make it. Now, you see this, if you just scroll down here, I think we'll share the link so people will be able to like play around with it further and basically experiment with it. So feedback is really important. We want to keep improving this and keep making it better. So this is basically the configuration side of things. And then let me just switch over to application here. We can skip this for now. So once you have configured this, that is assuming you have a different configuration, we switch back to the O3 form generator, which is basically this. Now, I've already talked about the Excel sheet. So when it comes to this UI for the form generator, all you have to do is basically upload this spreadsheet that you have. Now, if I just browse here, we have this this is the one that we're using, the one that I just demoed. It's a local version. So all we have to do is just basically upload this within our tool, within the FormGen, and it does its thing, it does its automation thing. So let's just wait for it to like finish up. And so what is going to happen is that it's going to analyze this Excel sheet, look at every sheet within it, and then spit out, basically give you like a breakdown of all the available forms that you can actually get from this spreadsheet. Now, ours is really big, so you find that about there are a couple of there are over 40 forms inside here. So you basically have like a breakdown of all the forms that are available in the spreadsheet that you can actually extract and basically come up with your JSON form, which is compatible with 3.x. So now, let's just, for the purpose of demoing, let's just use one of these. Let's say I want to, maybe I want to look get the MHCAP baseline, and then the MHCAP maybe follow up, right? So we have this. So once you've selected the forms that you want to extract, just come down here to generate forms, and then it does this thing. It's generating the forms for us as you taking a sip of water. So, and as after it's done with this, what it's going to do is it's basically going to run the script in the background, get all the different page layouts, the sections, add the skip logic into the forms, assuming the formulas are correct, obviously. We assume the formulas are correct, obviously. And basically give you a ready JSON form that can be a good starting point for you, basically. So now we chose two forms, which is MHCAP baseline v2, and then the MHCAP follow-up. Now, if you look at this, let's just use this. So it kind of gives a summary of what is in that form. For our case, 91 questions, answers, pages, and everything. So once you have this, you have a preview of everything. So this is our JSON form here, and then we also have the extraction, the translations. In our case, we're using Arabic, so everything is split here. So now, okay, I see time is running out, so let's just speed this up a little bit. Now, once you have this generated, all you have to do is just copy this. So you can actually download this locally, or you could just copy this. Now, for verification, and just to show you guys how this will play out, I'm here in the form builder, and I'm going to just paste this in here. And all we have to do is just do this. Now, I mentioned something about formulas here. So this is a space, this is something that we're still improving, because it's kind of, we haven't taken care of all different possibilities, but we're improving, and this is kind of like one thing that we haven't really sorted out, but we have like a working PR for this. So I have a feeling this is to do with formulas. So what we're going to do is this. We're going to just replace, let's just set for invalid. Sorry for this. Invalid format, and let's just do this and just replace this with nothing, right? So I'm just replacing it all, and then we can render this again, and we have a form right there. And that's basically yes, we got a form in what, maybe less than 2 seconds, not 2 seconds, but 2 minutes. We kind of generated the form in less than 2 minutes, and mostly because I was explaining. Anyways, so with this, we have a form ready. You can actually now verify all the different fields. You can verify the skip logic that is with a form, as well as in case you need to add something custom, maybe some permissions and the rest of it all. You can now have a starting point, and at this point you can basically just proceed and save the form, and you're good to go. So that's basically how it is. That's basically it in summary. And welcome any questions, and please, we welcome contributors. Everything is open source. It's part of the Madiro repository. Clinical tools is the script, and the FormGen is basically the Python app that kind of like encapsulates everything. So thank you, and yeah, thank you. Oh, I almost forgot. Yeah, we need you. We need you to test. We need you to like use this. Everything is open source again, and contributions are always welcome. Feedback is welcome. Thank you.